My name is Damian Borba. I'm a product manager at Adobe here in San Francisco, so we're pretty close. And we're interested in talking more and more with you guys to learn what you need and maybe how we can make the tool even better for your needs. This is super early. We're in beta 2, and I have a set of slides here to tell the story of how everything started, the vision we have, and where things are headed. So there's a long way. We know there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of work to be done. So please be patient, and I think it's solving a real problem, and hopefully you'll like that. So a little bit about myself. I specialize in design thinking, and before being a product manager at Adobe, I was a developer advocate for years for BlackBerry, later for PayPal and Braintree. So I was always talking to customers and getting feedback and talking to audiences like you guys. But I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here on behalf of this amazing team who's working super hard to build Adobe XD. So we have a big team, one team dedicated to a Mac version, and one team dedicated to a Windows version that will land later in the year. And one thing that I'd like to highlight here is that we picked a multi-platform approach instead of a cross-platform approach, because we don't want just the same code running in both platforms. We want to guarantee performance. So we treat performance as a feature in Adobe XD. So since day one, that's super important to us, and as you play with it, you see that it's fast. You can open hundreds of artboards and things just work. All right, so to create some context and tell the story of XD and why and everything it started, I'd like to talk about UX. UX can be anything, right? It can be like the experience of like purchasing a car or checking in a hotel. But in this case, and for XD, we are focused on screen design. So we want to help you communicate what's in your mind as a designer to design something maybe very early as a low fidelity design, then improve it to make it a high fidelity design, then jump to prototype to test and validate the ideas you have in your mind, and then share to get feedback. And once changes are necessary, you can go back to your design mode, make those changes, and everything is seamless. So I will talk more about this. So you can see XD targeting designers, UX designers, facing this big challenge, which is the UX challenge. So where everything started, right? At Adobe, you know Photoshop, you know Illustrator. Photoshop is really good for bitmap editing, and Illustrator is really good for vector artwork creation. But to be very honest, and this is very clear, they were not initially designed for this new challenge of UX design. Now it's not only mobile or website, now you have the watch and have so many different screens and mediums that make it very hard and challenging. There are a lot of improvements here in these tools. For example, in Photoshop, you can use artboards now, and in Illustrator, we have amazing SVG export. But that's the design challenge we had in the beginning. This was around like 90 months ago when everything started. So we started with this design challenge. Photoshop and Illustrator are not initially designed for UX design. Then before doing anything, we went out and we were talking to customers, and we did customer meetings, and not only interviewing people in those meetings in a very qualitative way, we also watched people work. So that's one thing I plan to do today. As you work in the second part of this talk, I plan to watch you work and see all the pain points that you have, and hopefully bring that to the team, and we can make it better. And we also experienced the same tools that people were using when we were building this empathy, and we keep doing this as you'll see in this presentation. So the first finding we got out of this exercise is more like a confirmation on the design challenge we had before, that current tools are not tailored to UX design. We have not only our tools, but we know that there are tools out there that now they do UX design, but initially they were not tailored to UX design. They were trying to do something else, and they evolved, and now they are good for that. for different parts of it. So the second finding is that there are a lot of tools tackling different parts of the problem. So this UX challenge is very complex and involves design and learning and research and then prototype and then sharing, collaboration. So there are different tools, and you can see tools popping up every month pretty much. This is a crazy environment. I think it's getting close to the craziness of JavaScript frameworks, where there's new things every day pretty much. So that was a second finding there. Another one was when you do your design. This is nowadays using the existing tools. Today, if you need to create this, build this UX project, you have to design your mobile interface or website interface. Then, when you need to jump to a prototype tool, you have to export every single thing, go to the prototype tool, import every single thing, then you create a prototype using whatever is there, then you share, get feedback, and when it's time to do, like let's say you learn from that feedback and it's time to go back to your design, there's a lot of friction, so you have to repeat all the same steps. And that friction limits creativity. We know that designers, different than developers, most of them don't like to pre-plan everything. They like to explore, go to new grounds, and they have a pace. So one of the pillars that we have at Adobe XD since day one is design at the speed of thought, and we want to keep that as a pillar moving forward. That's why performance is a feature there, and that's a great finding. So we want to keep that pace, and we don't want the tool to make you slower, to get you slower. So, like I said, around 18 months ago, we started working on this project, and before Project Comet, it was codenamed Project Sparkler, and then it changed to Project Comet close to Adobe Max last year. So at Adobe Max, this big conference that took place in October in Los Angeles last year, we announced Project Comet as an official tool, and it was, the code name is Project Comet, was Project Comet. And during that process, since that day, we got it went way beyond our expectations, so the reception was awesome. It was clear that it was helping designers, the vision there was going to help designers facing a real problem. And since then, we worked pretty much every single day, very close to the community, very close to customers, making sure that we were having our ideas and everything, but we were validating all the time. We were getting feedback, we were polishing our ideas to make sure they were right. So for example, there it's like all the product managers, there's also, we have another one, she's not there, but we were answering questions live from like doing this AMA, Ask Me Anything, and answering every single question that people had. And we are very open, and I will show some of the channels we have to gather feedback, and you guys can really influence the tool. And one of the things I was mentioning, because we are so close to each other, I'm really interested in getting your feedback, and this is just the first presentation, but if you guys are interested, we can talk more and you can really influence the future of this tool. Another example of a different approach and a special approach that we have with Adobe XD since day one is that we are exposing the entire team to feedback. So it's not only the product managers like myself that go and talk to customers. This was at Adobe Max last year, where we had customers coming to see Project Comet, and there we have engineers, we had designers exposed to that feedback. So it was very, very good, and everyone in the team cares so much about this tool. So it's a very talented group of people who we're really trying to make our best. One of the examples there is that if you tweet anything with hashtag Adobe XD, pretty much the entire team sees it there. And on March 14th this year, we announced the final name, which was Adobe Experience Design, or as we call Adobe XD. And this is the final product name, so it's not the code name anymore. It's not Project Comet, it's Adobe Experience Design. And this is our first public preview. So this is our beta 1. So instead of having those long cycles that we used to have in the past, we have, and this is very risky, but we're up for the challenge. We have monthly releases planned. So you can expect a new build every single month. We had this one in March. Last week we had another one with more features. And we spent so much time in the first year making sure the foundation was there, the rendering engine was there, like it's super fast, like I mentioned before. So now that's there, that's in place, you can expect more and more features coming. So if the things you want are not there yet, there's some workarounds to get that working, and you can expect those features to land in some sort of fashion. And we are rethinking a lot of the things before we add to the tool. So you'll see that over and over. If you want to download XD, you can go to adobe.ly/XD and you can download the tool. Until it reaches 1.0 later in the year, it will remain free. So you don't have to have a paid account, paid Creative Cloud account. You can have a free one. Just go to accounts.adobe.com, create an account. You can use your personal email and you can download the tool for free. And again, this is Mac only because we're trying to get the best of the Mac platform, and we have a team dedicated to a Windows build that will land later this year. All right, do you guys have any questions before I do a demo? All right, so let's open Adobe XD. Can you see it well? Is it okay in the back there? Cool. All right, so the first thing you see when you open Adobe XD, let me minimize this so you can see it better, is this welcome screen. And this is not only a welcome screen, it helps you do stuff. So you can create projects based on presets for phones, for tablets, for websites, or even like if you have custom sized artboards, you can define them here. You also have access to UI kits. For example, I can open the Apple iOS one, and here I can, isn't this too small for you guys? And you can see performance is super smooth, so you can have a lot of artboards, hundreds of artboards, and it just works. And it's just a matter of copying and pasting from here to your project. And we have one for Google Material Design, so same, like all the components you can have here. Just copy and paste to your projects, and one for Windows. One thing that I highly recommend you to do when you first download is open the sample file. This is also a great tutorial. So this is a sample file with some assets and everything, but if you follow the steps here, you'll be pretty much good to go with Adobe XD. So you have some artboards, you have some instructions on the side. At this time we have 7 steps, actually 6 steps on this one. In our pre-release we have 7 steps, so in the next build you have 7 steps to help you along the way. You can expect, for example, the first thing I'd like to highlight is when you finish your design and it's time to export final assets for production. Let's say I want to export this icon here. You just select the element, go to File, Export, and here you can pick in between SVG or PNG. If you pick PNG, you can use presets for web, iOS, and Android. If you pick web, you get 2 PNGs, 1x and 2x. iOS will be 1x, 2x, and 3x. And Android will be like all the different sizes that the Android platform requires. If you pick SVG, then you get highly optimized SVG, and you can even minify the code so it's a smaller file. It downloads faster. If you have an image, let's say you have a group of elements and it has an image there, a bitmap image there, you export as SVG. You can pick in between embedding the image as part of the SVG code so it becomes base 64, or you can link it so it's a separate image that sits beside your file. So that's how you get assets out for production, final assets for production. Cool. And everything here is contextual. So you can see on the left, you can see the design tools are very simple. So we're trying to simplify, but simplify in a way that's effective and it makes you go faster. If you're using the line tool here and you hold shift, you get 45 degrees to help you design. And the pen tool is pretty powerful. So we really wanted to make the best pen tool out there. And nowadays, if you use pen tools in different tools, sometimes you have to switch in between variations of the tool to do more stuff. not here. So there's only one pen tool, and let's say you're drawing your path. And let's say now I want to change the color before finishing this path. I can go to border here, change the color, make it bigger without finishing my path. I can go back to the first point here, close the path, and if I need to add anchor points to this pen tool, I just, as I design, let's say I have something here, I just roll over the path and I get a place to add my anchor point. So I don't know if you can see it, but then I click there and I get a new anchor point. I can double click to get rid of the handles, and I can double click again to get the handles back. So you don't have to switch in between tools to get things working here. One example that I like to do is, let's say you're designing that pin icon that goes on maps. You can use two circles. Then you can align them on the property inspector. Then there you can use Boolean operations to, in this case, subtract. And this is non-destructive. So you can do your changes and go back to the original different parts of it. So now that I have these two parts, I can grab this anchor point and pull it down. So I can double click to enter, select this anchor point, pull it down here, and then double click to get rid of the handle. And it's aligned and it gives me a hint. Once I'm happy with this, I can then, let's say, remove the border, add some shadow, and everything just works. All right, another thing I'd like to highlight is the fact that you now have the ability to use grids. So, and again, this is the foundation is there, and you can expect more and more features landing. So this is the first iteration of grids. You can expect more controls over grids like gutter and column layout, but for now that's a simple grid. So you select the artboard by clicking on its title. Then you can activate the grid, change its color. I'll do it this way so you can see it better. You can change the size of your grid there on the property inspector. You can make it the default grid, the new default grid, or you can use the default one that we provide, 8 pixels. And once I have your grid there, then everything snaps to the grid. So if you're drawing the same rectangle, now it snaps to the grid. Same for the pen tool, so your pen tool will snap to the grid. So you can do like something that's perfect and things just work. How are you guys doing there? You're like quiet.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, yeah, totally.
This obviously doesn't look like any other Adobe app. Is it, how do I put this right? Is it following current trends, or what's the reasoning behind making this not necessarily look like other Adobe apps?
We want to make it current and tailored to what's needed for UX today. So this is, I would say, special, but you can expect some of this reflected in different tools as well. Yeah.
Are other tools going to
Yes.
start taking on this kind of a look?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yes?
I have a question as well. This obviously feels a lot like Sketch. Does Adobe have a vision to separate them or distinct them, or?
I think Sketch does a good job in terms of design, for design, and well, remember I mentioned about friction during the process when you jump to prototype and everything. So we know, we're very aware that people use Sketch and it's very popular. We're trying our best to make the best tool. We don't want to, this is not a copier, there's nothing there. We really want to make sure we're doing our best to deliver the best tool for designers. So hopefully, and again, if using those tools makes sense for you, not only Sketch but InVision, that's okay. We're doing our best, and hopefully you'll see value in this tool, and if you guys use it, awesome. If not, awesome.
Is there going to be a workflow kind of specification for exchange with Illustrator or Photoshop?
Yeah, you can
start in one, can I go to the other, and will
Yeah.
like Booleans remain live, or?
Yeah, you can expect a very tight integration with Adobe tools like Illustrator and Photoshop. For now, you can go to Photoshop, copy and paste. It comes as a bitmap here, and same for Illustrator. You copy and paste, and then it comes as SVG, so it remains editable and everything. And you can even bring content from Sketch if you want. You just select an element there, right click, and then you choose copy SVG code, and you paste to XD, and it works. Yes?
And when we finish our design, can we export it as a full full both a mock-up and wireframes as well to any platform?
Yeah, I didn't get to the prototype portion yet, so it'll make more sense when you see that, but I'm covering the design features. This is not a tool to generate code by any means. Like,
Yeah, I know that.
we wanna, our audience is really the designer, but if you wanna go that route, we're planning to have a very solid extensibility layer for JavaScript developers to create plugins for XD. So you can create a plugin that understands something, and then it can export whatever you want. But
So this won't output code. That's not planned.
for now, no. Yeah. We want to make sure that we're targeting designers and solving their problems. And if plugin developers end up creating plugins that do that, they'll be available here soon. Yes?
You see there's a record button on the top right corner. So can we do like interaction prototype by this?
Yeah, I will get there. So yeah, I will get there. All right. So
Elevating.
yeah.
Show us the
But
prototype.
that's good. That's cool. All right. So here we are in design mode. As you can see here, you're doing your design. Again, you can start. Let's say you want to do a wireframe. You can go to File, Open UI Kit, so you can access the UI kits from here. Then you can copy the components you want. Let's say you want this one. Then you can create a new artboard with the artboard tool. Let's do it on this side. And then you can paste that guy. So you can create wireframes. Then once it's time to do final design, you can polish and do your high fidelity design here. One thing that we have here that's super helpful and special is, as designers, sometimes you need to repeat elements, right? Especially like if you have a list of results from a search or something. Let's say in this case I want to list all my adventures. Normally I would have to copy and paste, align. I get hints to help me along that way, but it's a very manual process. And then if I need to adjust the distance, I have to remember how many times I hit enter or shift just to make sure it's aligned. So it's a very painful process. To speed that process up, now we created this tool called Repeat Grid. So you select all the elements you want to repeat. It doesn't have to be grouped. It can be like separate elements. Then you go to this guy here, Repeat Grid, and you click there, and then you just repeat them. And if you need to adjust the distance there, the margin in this grid, you just adjust here, and it replicates there. The same way you can grow vertically, you can grow horizontally if you're doing like a tablet version of this, and it's smart that. So another thing that's important here is that we want to make sure that you can create different versions of your designs very quickly. So all the properties that you change here, it changes everywhere in the grid. So for example, if I select this guy and I make it yellow, that's reflected throughout the entire grid.
Can you
But-
change the text in the different places though?
But content can be unique. So we can say, yeah, you can do that. Diversity, yeah.
So this software, how much memory does it take up?
It's very small, and it's super fast.
Okay. The reason why I ask because some of the software like Photoshop takes up like almost up to like 4 gigs of memory or more.
No, yeah, this is very small compared to Photoshop. Yeah.
Is there an inspector for what's global and what is, what's object-oriented versus what's unique for those?
For now, you can change content and images. For example, I can. Let's say I want to explore a different variation of this design. I can very easily. I'll send this to the back. I can explore this way. I can make it, I change the opacity. So you can see things are changing, but content can be unique. One thing, I'll go back to the initial one, is that before I finish the presentation on this side, I just want to show that, let's say you want to have an image to be your avatar here. The way it works in XD, you just grab an image from Finder and you drag it there. So that image is there, and it's now the fill of this object, so it never gets distorted as you change this guy. And that's also true for the repeat grid. So if you drag one image to the grid, that populates the entire grid. And if you select a group of images, that populates the entire grid.
I think if I actually have a similar question to what I think he was asking, which was like in Illustrator they have the appearance panel, which
Okay.
kind of tells you information about the type of group or object you have selected. Is there plans for something like that? Because it doesn't look like I see anything like that.
Yeah, maybe something around layers would answer your question, and layers are coming soon. So we're working on layers, but in a very special way.
Okay.
We don't want to bring layers just because it's out there in different tools. We're spending months and months of research there.
Cool.
I noticed that the interactivity seems very sparse. Are you guys going to add like more widgets and more interactive tools?
This is the design mode, right? So you can expect some things for example, you can activate scrolling here. You can activate, soon you're going to activate micro interactions like on and off and all those things. That will come soon.
That's going to come soon. Okay.
Yeah, but for now you have UI kits that you can copy to your design.
We've been using the Adobe Experience Manager, that's in InDesign, and it's not great. But it's
Yeah, this is Adobe.
hopefully is this going to be something like Adobe Experience Manager someday? Or?
AEM, we know that generates apps, and we're not doing that. We're working with the AEM team to make sure if they want to write a plugin that integrates with XD to do that, that's possible, but we're not going that direction, like
All right.
to generate apps.
Okay.
Okay, so moving forward. So let's say you're happy with your design, and now it's time to prototype. You want to do your prototype to tell what's in your mind and create the flow and everything. In different tools, like I mentioned before, you'd have to export every single artboard or pieces here and import to a prototyping tool, right? And then if something needs to change, it's painful. In XD, all you gotta do is move your mouse to the top and click in prototype. That's it. I can do it again, so you guys can see. And now you're ready to start prototyping things. So let's say I'm here and I'm in prototype mode now. Every time the user taps on this button, I want it to go to this artboard. So I select that artboard, or that button, and drag to that artboard. That's it. So now if I play here, there's a play button. I get a preview window here, and if I click on my button there, my prototype is working. Let me make it smaller so you guys can see it. I will put this down, put this down.
Is there an app for the software so we can view it on the iPhone or Android?
That's coming soon, yeah, mobile preview, we're working on that. So you asked, you mentioned the record button. So as you play with this, let's say I have my prototype mode here, I have a wire, I have my preview window here, and let's say every time the user taps on this button, I want it to go back to the first screen. I don't have to close the preview window. I just select this guy, wire it back, and it's working. And all the changes you do in your design mode, for example, let's say you're designing, that's reflected in the preview view as well.
Question.
Yes?
Last time I played with it, you guys still didn't have. So you only are limited to full screen transitions. So you don't have like a hamburger menu with.
Yeah, overlays, yeah.
You don't have that yet.
Not yet, but that's coming. We're working on that. Again, we worked so hard to make it fast. Now that's there, you can expect those things landing.
Are you considering individual transform properties for elements?
Yeah, customization, yeah, that's planned as well. But that takes time and it's a lot of work. Right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
and we're working. We want to make sure like the gradients tool is there, more to grids is there, scrollable area. Then when those things land, we can add more and more things. You asked about the record button. So let's say you want to record this as a video to share with people. So you can click record, and then you can interact with it. Once you're happy with it, you can stop, and you get an MOV here to share with people.
An MOV?
Yes.
Planning on doing MP4?
That's a great question. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
And talking about that, is the programming in the pen tool an appropriation of the Roto Bezier features in After Effects, and will that feature go into Illustrator with the pen tool? I'm just curious.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Because it looks like the Roto Bezier in After Effects, the way the pen tool works now in this.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you capitalize on that content.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether or not that feature will go back into Illustrator. It's very easier to use.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to answer for that team because but like we did this from scratch, and and it's working well.
So the programming for the pen tool was not in After Effects?
No,
Okay.
this is built from scratch. Yeah, the pen tool, and then that's how you can get something to share and get feedback. But you can also create links. So let me see if I have my right account here. Do you guys have any questions before I just test this?
Is this link you're creating what format?
This will be a public link.
SWF. Just kidding.
No, man.
You said that, is there any intention to output, you guys have no intention to output code. Because for me, I'm a developer / designer, not designer / developer, and for me, the ability to make something that I can just make a web page for and show, as opposed to a video, just make a web page and show is much more important to me.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's just a question, right? So,
Yeah, I think we tried in the past to get to that route, and sometimes we failed. So it's a very tricky path to go. Like, we want to make sure we solve this challenge for designers first, and if developers want to expose different things, it's very tricky if you commit to a framework, for example. Then it's like it's very crazy. All right, so let me just restart here very quickly. Experience.
while you're doing that, if you're capable, I assume that this is going to be responsive design? Like, am I capable of making both designs?
Yeah, at this moment it's not, but
Okay.
adaptive design and responsive design are in the plans for sure. So I just restarted, so I will show you how to create a video, but if you want to share this as a link, a public link with people, so let me just go back here to the repeat grid, oops, and in design mode, in prototype mode, I will wire this back. So now that your prototype is created and you're happy with it, you can click on this button on top right and share this online. So you can give it a name, Academy of Art. You can drag an image to be your thumbnail. So let's say it's this one, and then you can create a link. So now all the assets necessary go to Creative Cloud, and once it's created, you can click there or copy the link. And yeah, there you go. So the same interaction is here in this link. So you can share this link and get feedback. And if you test this on a mobile device, you don't get this extra assets, just like a full screen experience. And if you add that to your home screen, you get this icon as the app icon, so it looks like an app.
I'm a freelance designer and / developer. If I want to show this to my client, some of my clients they can see it, but some of my clients don't see very well. So is there like a section for me to make the product bigger for them to see?
Yeah, this is a website, right? So you can make it bigger if you want, or as you show it to a client. Yeah.
You said that you don't want to commit to a framework. This is clearly making. So, this is not a video, right? This is
No.
interactive.
Yeah.
Why not just export that?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of logic here for caching and interaction, so exposing that as like a local file would be very hard, unless you have like Node or something running, and then
Okay. fair
then
enough.
it's a big thing.
Okay.
Yes. You tell it. So if you don't do anything, it lives there forever. Or you can go back to that link. You can create new links. For example, if I do changes, I can update the last link, or I can create a new link. So I can have a web version, a mobile version, and share those different links. And at any point, you can click on Manage Links. And here you can see all the links you shared. Let me log in very quickly. And then once you get there, you can revoke the ones you don't want to. So I can delete this one or delete this one. So you have control over it.
Are you planning a little bit more robust version control review process for this? Is that?
Yeah, that's in the plan. One thing that I'd like to highlight, just to finish things off before I don't think we're going to have a lot of time, but we've got lots of questions, which is great. I just want to reinforce the plan of, until we reach 1.0 later in the year, it's free. It's part of the Creative Cloud for free. Just download in that link, and we don't know the pricing and all that until it gets to 1.0, but for now it's free. It's part of Creative Cloud. And one thing that we're trying to do to make it, and this is there since day one as well, we're listening to you. So if you have feature requests or if you find bugs, you can go to this website, adobexd.uservoice.com. And here you can, like I said, file bugs or submit feature requests. So far we have 650 feature requests, which is awesome. And we product managers, we come here and we update this. So the most voted, the top ones, and you can see where things are going. So it's a very transparent and open approach. We have grids. That's the first iteration is there. Scrolling is number one. So we have something that will be released next month on scrolling. So those things are happening, and you can see the progress by checking user voice. So adobexd.uservoice.com for feature requests. And that's all I have for you. Yeah, if you have questions, that's us. Thank you.
One last question. When I make a website, I also make a responsive website as well. I can show my client both the website and responsive when I send them the link. They can view on a browser and on the mobile phone as well.
Yeah. For example, in my case here, I had a web version and a mobile version. They're based. They come from the same file, so it's just a matter of creating different links and then giving them the different links.
Okay.
At the moment, right?
At the moment.
You said eventually it's planned to have both all responsive designs in one.
Yeah, you can see, for example, adaptive. Yeah, the internet's not. Yes, adapt. There you go. So you can see it's there, and it will come eventually. So that's a request. So if you really want that, please upvote here so we can we can see it. Cool. Any other questions?
You said that there's going to be plugins that the community is able to work on.
Hopefully, yeah, we're gonna.
Is there a community site built around plugins, or are you just expecting the community to work on that independently?
We don't have a solid answer for that yet.
Okay.
We know that since day one, we have the accessibility idea in our mind, so it's ready for it. But we don't have a clear answer for that yet.
Cool.
Yeah, we know it's going to be JavaScript, so you write your plugins in JavaScript.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Are your UI kits are just basically documents?
Yes,
now that you're
files
copying
for
from,
now,
But
yeah.
eventually, that's going to be some sort of more robust
Libraries,
library
yeah.
or template system
Yes.
or live link.
Yeah, you can expect a lot in terms of libraries, and we're doing a lot of progress there. And hopefully, the same way you saw Repeat Grid being like super effective, you'll see the same for libraries. It's gonna hopefully change the game of like reusable assets.
Do you find that the reason this is so performant is because it's built around is from the ground up? It's built to be GPU like based, or is just Photoshop so heavy that no matter what no matter like they would have because I remember when they rebuilt both Photoshop and Illustrator, it was supposed to be built around GPU enabled stuff, but it still feels heavy.
Yeah, it's a tool that does a lot. I can't say a lot about that team. I know they work super hard, and the code is is there for years. They do improvements all the time. I know the next release is really focused on performance.
Is it?
And you can expect more things there. But for XD, yes, we are doing our best to make sure like performance is treated as a feature. So every single thing is fully tested, and we're very like obsessed with performance.
And is your UI going to be high DPI enabled on Windows as well as Mac? Because that's one of the big problems I'm having right now is that a lot of the apps I'm running into on my Windows device aren't prepped for high.
Yeah, not only that, but we also like on the Windows side of things, we want to make sure that it's ready for like touch and those things are there. Yeah, so we think that's why we don't want to do like just cross-platform stuff. We want to make sure we can take the best of each platform.
Is that one of the major differences between them? Is the idea of touch and pens are so prevalent?
That's part of it. That's part of it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So monthly builds until forever?
Until 1.0, yeah.
So your guys' hearts explode? Or?
Yeah. Until we survive.
After 1.0.
Yeah.
When is 1.0? Is you looking for the summer?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Once it's ready. Oh, one thing that I forgot to show. Let me show you very quickly. Is here you have your Repeat Grids, and last year at Adobe Max we did a demo on our vision of design with data. So bringing real data to your designs. So the first step towards that direction is that now you can get text files to, let's say I have a text file with some titles. This is just a text file. Like one line, enter another line, enter another line.
Okay.
And then if you drag that text file to your Repeat Grid, it populates.
Nice. Now
The
you're
grid.
dragging it onto one of the parts of the Repeat Grid. Right?
Yes, you can pick
What
the
happens
one.
if you drag it onto the image?
Text or nothing. You'll create a new text field there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you drag if you're here in design mode,
Is that a live link or is that a read-write operation? Right?
it brings it one time, yeah, for now. So if you have like a copy, let's say I have this area here where I want, let's say I get copy from some copywriter, I can go to my file here and just drag it here so it populates the guy.
And our live links are obviously planned, right? So
Yeah.
you can have live data.
Potentially, yeah. And then you can adjust line spacing and character spacing as expected. So same thing for text. We're working so hard on text, but this is being built from scratch. So it takes time to get all those tools in.
Now, I'm sorry. You said that you don't plan on outputting code. Do you plan on outputting CSS?
Maybe, yeah. There's a lot of discussions there, but we have more basic features like gradient and background blur before we get there. One thing you can see is like when you change around the corners, it follows the CSS order. So that's one step towards that direction. So if it pops up like crazy, we need CSS export now, and like 1,000 people request it, they will make it happen.
Can you do both HTML and CSS?
Maybe, yeah.
That was no.
It's not a no. It's maybe, yeah. If it makes sense for people, yeah.
Yeah.
We're validating. That's why we have like monthly releases, because we're testing every single thing all the time, and it gives us time to pivot if we need to.
I mean, you We get it. I mean, we see that it's a design tool, and so, you know, don't worry about the
That guy.
No, don't worry about that. I'm a very niche
the
case.
developers. I mean, for me, I feel like I would love to see some building around the validation, the testing phase, because what it's really about is going back into these files over and over,
Yeah.
and updating them. Anyone who's done any client work knows that you're going to go through
Oh, yeah.
easily 30, 50 revs on the same file. And so if that, I mean, I think that's really the problem that is most important, rather than making this be a content creation tool,
Yeah.
is the revision and iteration.
Yeah, versioning, yeah.
That was the challenge that you were discussing earlier in the presentation that I would like to see addressed. And I think a lot of that could really be met with the, you know, more robust kind of feedback of the version control, the version
Yeah.
sort of
Is
thing.
that something where you can just incorporate Git into this? Like, I know that like when it comes, no, I mean honestly, like when it comes to the Google platform of like docs and spreadsheets and all that, I'm getting real used to the idea of history built into those live
Yeah.
documents.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Again, designers are based on our findings. They're not.
They don't care.
No. I mean, like they don't plan everything like developers. Like commit every single thing, and
Sure.
it's they can become those people, but it takes time. And
Is
for
it
now,
possible to obfuscate that and just when they save it?
yeah, we have some early prototypes towards that, like versioning and collaboration.
Okay.
So once we learn more and we validate more, we can expose that and get more feedback.
Awesome.
But that's in the works.
We're taking over here.
I mean, I could ask questions all day.
That's good. That's good.
I've literally tried to make my own prototype. So
That's good. That's good. Questions are awesome.
my thing was actually outputting HTML and CSS though. Is that
Maybe you can maybe you can create a plugin for this tool.
I mean, I tweeted at you and I Instagrammed at you, so if you see anything from Broncula, that's me.
Okay, good. That's good to know. Yeah, thanks for all the questions.